My name is Michael Dowling. I'm here today to speak to you about the equitation tests 1 through 22 that have been recently revised. I'm a coach at Centenary University. Today we're going to be assisted by some past, present, and future collegiate riders. We hope that this is beneficial and look forward to working with you today. Tests around, it was 1 through 18. They've changed it so that we're building basically from basics up to advanced level tests. Test 1, we're going to be working collectively or individually at the walk, rising or sitting trot, and the canter. This is a test that can be used at any level. So essentially we're walk, trot, cantering in a group or individually. So here we have a group of riders that are working collectively at the walk. All trot, please. Depending on the level, they can walk, trot, sitting, or rising, or canter, or canter. Sitting trot. And canter. And walk. Test 2 is a downward transition test. So here we're going to watch the rider come down to the walk, 4 or 5 steps. We're going to halt. Hold the halt for 4 to 6 seconds on the aids. Then we're going to back 3 to 5 steps and walk forward for a moment and then wait for the next test. 3 is about questions regarding basic horsemanship, tack, equipment, and/or conformation. The judge may ask questions that are appropriate for any level. So this test, again, can be very rudimentary for basic level riding classes. Even in the case of lead line, people will sometimes ask, what color is your pony? So this is a really useful test. It used to be a little bit later on in the sequence of our tests, but now they've moved this test up. One thing that is very important that we understand in using this test is that it should be very clear and precise. It shouldn't be a vague question with a vague answer. So we want to make sure that we ask a question that is very specific, right? Like, how many feet in a horse's stride, right? 72 feet is how many strides? How many strides is 72 feet? 5 strides. Very good. We're working either collectively or individually. The rider is going to be demonstrating a lengthening of stride either at the walk, the trot, either sitting or posting, or the canter. So lengthening and shortening of stride is test number 4. Test 5 is a figure 8 at the trot. In this test, we're going to start and end the exercise with a halt on center line. We're demonstrating a change of diagonals as we intersect the 2 circles at the center point. Change of bend. The horse should be bent slightly to the inside, and certainly at a higher level, you're looking for a little bit more connection. And then again, down center line, and our rider will halt at the same place where they started. The halt again should be punctuated 4 to 6 seconds. Test 6 is a figure 8 at the canter, demonstrating the correct lead. We start with a halt, demonstrating a simple change of lead. The simple change may be executed either through the walk or the trot. Either is acceptable unless the judge specifies one or the other. At the conclusion of the second circle, the rider will halt in the center at the same point of commencement. And just in terms of size, roughly 20 meters is usually a pretty good size, but again, that depends on the riding space that we're working in. Test 7 is jump a shortened course. This is now a test in and of itself versus coming back for, let's say, the medal and jumping a course. So this is actually a specific course. The jumps should be jumped in this test in the same direction that they were jumped in the class, unless a judge specifies that a jump should be jumped in the opposite direction. In that case, it must be a vertical with consistent ground lines on both sides. Test 8, jump low jumps at the trot as well as the canter. The maximum height for a trot jump should be 6 inches less than the required height and not exceed 3 feet for horses or 2 feet for ponies. Oxers actually may be used as trot jumps only in classes 3'6" or higher, and again, they would be 6 inches lower. Test 9, demonstrate a half turn and or a half turn in reverse. The rider here is demonstrating a half turn at the rising trot. In the half turn, you're just reversing to the inside. We change the bend. Basically, when we return to the rail and change the diagonal. Here, the rider is now demonstrating a half turn in reverse, which is like a teardrop on a short diagonal. This is a nice way to have your riders reverse, and a test that we have recently introduced to the equitation tests. Test 10, change leads on a line demonstrating either a simple change or a flying change. Simple change, again, the horse comes back to the walk or trot, which either being acceptable unless specified by the judge. Test 11, demonstrate a figure 8 at the canter, starting and ending with a halt, and demonstrating a flying change of lead without breaking gait. Again, approximately a 20-meter circle is nice if possible. The horse should be straight, at least 3 strides down center line. The circles should be equal in size, demonstrating the proper bend as well as the proper lead. And again, finishing with a halt at the same point of commencement. Test 12 is demonstrate a collection of stride between 2 fences. The line should be no less than 70 feet. In this case, that line was set at 72 feet, and the rider demonstrated 6 strides instead of the traditional 5 strides. Test 13, work collectively or individually at the walk, trot, and or canter without your irons. In this case, one of the riders has the stirrups hanging, the other has the stirrups crossed over. It's mandatory that riders are allowed to walk or halt to cross their irons. Test number 14, we're looking for the rider to execute a serpentine, which may be done at the trot or the canter, depending on the judge's request. At the trot, the rider should be on the correct diagonal and demonstrate the proper bend. Each loop should be equally spaced in the ring. If we're doing this at the canter, we're demonstrating a change of lead as the rider changes direction. Test 15 is canter on the counter lead on the flat. In this test, no more than 12 riders should be counter-cantering at one time, and the counter canter should be maintained for 1 revolution around the arena. Test 16 is approach a single jump on the counter lead. This test requires the rider to make at least 1 turn or a bend. The jump should come off a turn of a minimum of 90-degree angle. Test number 17 is demonstrate a turn on the forehand. Turn on the forehand comes out of the halt. Test number 18 is demonstrate a turn on the haunches. Turn on the haunches is always done out of a walk. The bend is in the direction of which the horse is moving. So test number 19 is demonstrate a shoulder in, shoulder out, haunches in or travers, and haunches out, renvers, half pass, or a leg yield, usually in both directions, either at the walk or the sitting trot. We have a visual here with a diagram that demonstrates the shoulder in, that's approximately 30-degree angle, 3-track movement, as is a shoulder out. Haunches in or travers and haunches out are both 4-track movements with a little more angle, approximately 35 degrees. Half pass and a leg yield. The half pass, the horse is being bent in the direction in which it's moving, and a leg yield, the horse is being bent in the opposite way in which it's moving. Both of those are also 4 tracks and roughly 45-degree angle movements. The half pass being the most complex of all of these lateral efforts. Test 20 is hand gallop. This may be used when riders are working collectively or individually on the flat, or may be asked on the approach to a jump. Riders must be in a half seat when hand galloping. Test 21 is ride without stirrups over fences. The rider, again, must be given an opportunity to cross the irons over. Test 22 is a demonstration ride of 1 minute. In this test, the riders must make the judges aware of what they plan on demonstrating in their ride. So riders should have in their memory bank a planned test. So thank you very much for watching this video. Hopefully this helps illustrate the tests and the changes that we've had in these equitation tests. This is a great system, again, starting from basics and then progressively moving up to more advanced level tests. Please go home, practice these tests, know these tests, and best of luck in your next competition.